Welcome, Hop Nation. I'm so grateful to have you tuning in, and I hope you aren't keeping us a secret and telling your friends and family. And please continue to tune in and check out our website, Hop Performance, that's hopperformance.com, where we'll have other insights as well as downloadable materials and extras from our guests. Now let me tell you a bit about this week's guest. He's a motivational and inspirational TEDx speaker, author and co-founder of Leadership University, owner of Salesforce Catalyst, and the creator of Afri Money University. He's impacted thousands of lives on a global scale, nicknamed the Action Man. That sounds like a superhero. That's just cool. I need a cool name like that. At home, my kids call me Captain Awesome, but Action Man's pretty cool. Maybe we could be like a superhero duo. Action Man and Captain Awesome.
Captain Awesome, that's awesome.
He's viewed by his peers as a charismatic visionary who undoubtedly believes in unleashing human potential, and why he would be on the Hopster Nation podcast, by inspiring people to break their boundaries and redefine their limits. As a living testimony, Stephen has followed his dreams and recreated a new path himself from humble beginnings in his country of origin, Togo, West Africa, to leadership and impactful roles on a global platform. So thank you, Stephen, for taking the time to join me and our listeners here at Hopster Nation.
Thank you so much, Corey. Thank you so much. I just want to take these 5 seconds, Corey, just say one more time that I really appreciate and respect what you do. You know, the truth is, in nowadays world that we live in, literally just a handful of people, if you take 100 people, perhaps 5 out of them are committed to make an impact on a global scale, to wake up every morning to think of what best could I do that can leave a positive impact on the next person that is next to me, or that is in the other corner on the other side of the world. And Corey, I can tell, and I know, and I'm convinced that you're one of those people. So I thank you very much for giving this opportunity today.
Well, thank you. And I like to think so, and I appreciate it. So let's hear about how you develop this passion to not only change your own world, you know, talking about the humble beginnings. Take us from the humble beginnings to how you develop this passion to change things on a global scale and move into this work that you do.
All right. Thank you, Corey. Well, first of all, Nicole Johnson, I just want to say hi to you. If you perhaps come across this podcast, I think through you, this is happening right now. So thank you for making this happen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, listeners and viewers of Corey. Okay. So my name is Stephen Dossou. I'm originally from Togo, Togo. Now, I don't want you to confuse it to Tokyo. Okay. Togo, because people ask me like, are you from Tokyo? I'm like, no, come on. Like, look at me. I'm not from Tokyo. Okay. So I'm from Togo, Togo, West Africa, a little tiny country, which north to the south is 600 kilometers, east to the west is 180 kilometers. And as of today, there's about 7.9 million people there. And that's where I grew up. That's where I was born, in a little 2-bedroom house with 9 siblings, my mom being around. So you can tell basically that I know what it is to have 5 or 6 brothers sleeping in one tiny room and sleeping on the floor. To be in a room where cockroaches will run past by you. You know, you have cockroaches racing in the room. Be like, I'm gonna be first. Okay. So that's where I grew up, in Togo, West Africa. And so look, it's a very modest and classic way to call it humble beginnings. But the truth is, we grew up poor. Okay. Until today, the basic salary in Togo, West Africa, people are living there on less than $1 a day. Okay, that's almost $30 or $45 per month. All right, it's crazy. Okay, so that's where I grew up. Now, I went to school. I finished my high school at the age of 15. Thanks God, and I went to university, studied international economics. But here's the thing. I did a basic projection for my country, where it would be then. That was we're talking almost 11, 12 years ago. where my country will be now. And the numbers didn't match really what I aspired to be. Now you gotta understand, even though I grew up in this little tiny, poor condition or little tiny bedrooms, deep down within me, I just had this conviction that I could be something more than what my circumstances were destined me to be. So I had a dream, even though it was not clear enough, I wanted to pursue it. So when I looked at what my country would be then and what I truly wanted it to be, it really didn't match. So I was like, okay, cool. So what environment can I throw myself in that can allow me those opportunities? Because look, let's face it, okay? You can have a beautiful seed, but if the soil is not fertile, if the humidity is not enough, if there is too much sun, that seed will die. Okay, so I looked around and where could be the right environment that I could throw myself in? Because I didn't have anybody that was close enough to my dad to be in high position in the government back then. And that's how the country is built, right? You have very rich people and very poor people, and it stays like that. So I was like, okay, look, I'm gonna try to relocate, try Europe, visa was denied. I tried America, didn't work out. And I was like, okay, cool. So where is the nearest African country that I could relocate to that could perhaps offer me, maybe not a lot of opportunity, but something that could get me close enough to what I aspire to become? So I looked at South Africa. I'm like, okay, that's where I was going to go. Now, for me to save and for the money that my mom would borrow, my parents would borrow and put that together, it was going to take me a few years, okay, to buy a flight ticket. So I was like, okay, mom, you know what? I took a backpack, a couple of clothes in it, with less than $150 in my pocket. And I said, all right, mom, it's time for me to go. It's time for me to change my destiny. Now, if you ask me, how was that journey? I will tell you that journey was tough and rough. Because on that journey, days came where I had no food to eat. On that journey, days came where I had no shelter. Days came when there was no place to call my home. It was tough. I wore one jean for weeks, okay? I wore the same shirt, washed it overnight and put it back on again and continue my journey. And it took me about 18 months to go from one side of the continent to the next. And during those 18 months, my family thought I was dead. Okay, now people started already forgetting about me because, the phone I used back then, Corey, you remember those 1710 Nokias, with the yellow screen, you can play Snake on it, that? Yeah. And it had a gum keyboard. Now, mine didn't have a keyboard. I would have a box of matches. And when it rang, I would take out one matches and press it and be like, hello, okay? that was my phone then, okay? So I arrived in South Africa. And I thought, if I just arrive in the promised land, things will be rosy. But that was not the case, okay? In South Africa, I did all kinds of jobs you can ever think of. I cleaned floors. I did security jobs, general worker, labor, anything that you can ever name me in your life, I have done. I remember at a point that I was living from close to being expired food that was being thrown outside by a supermarket. And eventually, I found a shack. Then the rent was less than $20 that I couldn't even afford. Sleeping in that shack, I had my own street hawking stand, and I wake up every day, every morning, going to that street hawking stand and hawk and sell whatever I could find and sell. Now, for whatever reason, even though I was going through all of that, Corey, I never ever lost faith that things were going to be right. He said that faith is what? Faith is the ability to believe in things that don't exist as yet. Therefore, if you have faith, you can see yourself in a future that nobody can see. So I kept believing, and I'll go there every morning and go there and do, hi, ma'am, how are you? Come closer. Let me sell you an apple. Hi, sir, how are you? If you can wait a minute, I want to show you why these biscuits and this sweet can make your day greater. With such an enthusiasm, and a gentleman saw me. He's like, hey, listen, I've been seeing you every single day, how you come to this hawking stand with such enthusiasm. I want you to come and work for me at Mesa. Mesa is a division of Walmart in South Africa. Now, I got that invitation, but Corey, to be honest to you, I didn't even have nothing to wear to that interview. So I went to see a friend of mine that was a pastor. He went into his drawer. He put out a brand new trouser, a brand new shirt. It's like, okay, man, go. I'm going to give you this, and it's going to be good luck for you. I wore those things as if they were mine. Okay, I walked tall in those things, all right? And I got to the interview. The interviewer's name was Isabel Kukumo, a blonde woman. As soon as I opened the door, she saw me. She was like, hey, I perceive a certain confidence from you, which I think was the result of all the things I have been through then. It's like, okay, you got the job. Okay, so what's the job? The job is to sell vacuum cleaners. I was like, whoa. Now, Corey, you got to understand, by then I was about 19, 20. And I had never seen a vacuum cleaner in my life, okay? Now I have to sell that stuff that I had never seen, I had never touched. So
it should be easy. You can go, this can clean up the cockroaches.
Yeah, it was one of those vacuum cleaners that worked with water, okay? So it was introduced just there in South Africa. So I got given a sales script. I took it home, studied it, add my own touch, and following day I came back and I started working for 7 days a week, 3 years, nonstop, 12 to 15 hours every single day, doing hi, ma'am, hi, sir, how are you? If you can give me a minute of your time, I will tell you why this vacuum cleaner will clean your home like nobody's business. If you can just wait a minute, I will show you why this vacuum cleaner sucks all the dust out of your home, just like that. Okay, and I did that over and over and over and over again. What I love about
a vacuum is really the only thing that we can sell by saying it sucks.
Exactly, yeah. There's one particular joke about a brand that says, I want to show you how this vacuum cleaner sucks like it sucks, okay? So one thing I love about sales, Corey, is that numbers never lie. So again, I kept displaying the same attitude in that environment, territory that I covered. On weekends, we'll go do door-to-door sales. Hi, ma'am, want to show this vacuum cleaner over and over again. So they were a competitive company that would see whenever they came to do their inspection, they would see me, whether it's Monday or Tuesday or Sunday, any time of the day, I was there screaming my lungs out to make money. So they came to me like, hey, listen, man, like you hurting our business. We want you to come and work for us, not as a salesperson, but now as an area manager. You'll have the opportunity to influence 60 to 100 people working under you. I was like, whoa, okay, I'm going to take this. And I went for it and I kept the consistency. 6 months later, I became a regional manager. From 60 to 100 people in peak season, I went to 200 people. And I kept the consistency. 6 months later, I became a national sales manager. Now, I went to generating over $10 million of sales yearly and handling almost 500 people a year. Okay. And I thought for a second, here I am looking back. Now, I'm talking, I was just in my 21, 22 years old going, okay, here I am. A boy from a 2-bedroom house that had no food to eat, that slept on the street, that was victim of racism, that was called names by other people. But here I am today, leading others and inspiring them. So I did that for about 4 years, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for something else. And I started my own business, exporting hair products all around the world. Did that for about a year until the business crashed, because of something that happened between myself and my co-founder. Now, when I'm saying the business crashed, Corey, I'm not talking about, like a tiny, no, I'm talking about a crash that you lose everything, okay? A crash that you've worked for years for, you suffered for everything. It's been lost in that crash, back to zero. So at that 4 years, I was like, all right, cool. So now what now? What am I gonna do? Then I looked back, and I saw that even though I was the youngest senior manager in the company, what made me the best senior manager month in, month out until I left that company was my ability to motivate people and bring the best out of them. I remember whenever we had
the
attitude,
exactly.
Attitude, So I was like, hey, you know what? I believe I'm really gifted at this, motivational speaking and coaching others, and I'm going to dive into this as a career. So that's when I left South Africa and I relocated to Asia. So in Asia, I started building my speaking and coaching business. So obviously I dived in it a lot more. And today I'm the author of 4 books, co-founder Leadership University. I have spoken to all kinds of groups around the world. Yesterday, I was just speaking to a Junior Chamber International, JCI Island, okay? Spoken in Dubai, spoken in USA, spoken in here and there. You know, that little boy that came from that 2-bedroom house that was on the street is today inspiring the thousands of people around the world. So that is my story, Corey. That's where I come from, and that's where I am right now.
I love it. I love it. And we share history with JCI. I was founding chapter president for a chapter and was a national speaking champion in Canada for JCI and went to the international competition in Brazil 2006, which was the impetus to really move more into the field I'm in. So it's interesting, you know, that you're just doing that stuff with JCI, because that's a huge part of my background in the industry, you know, and I started in the 90s with them, but it's because I'm old. It's old. You're probably, yeah, well, I'm not even going to go there. Now, one of the things that I want to pick up on is you moved into leadership, and in doing my research before bringing you on as a guest, you made a statement that leaders or owners, you know, build people and people build business. And there's this misconception that, you know, the CEO or business owner builds the business. And do you want to talk to that statement and what you mean by that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, leadership, leaders build people and people build businesses. Now, this is something so cliche, but we really don't tap into it. We really don't realize it, that your job as a leader is not to spend time working in your business. No, it's to spend time building your people. Okay. Now, why do I say that? Let me tell you the definition of leadership that I believe is one of the best, if not the best, that I've come across. Is by Dr. Miles Monroe, the late Dr. Miles Monroe. Perhaps you know him. He's the author. He's written about 66 books, translated in 185 languages. And he was also born the 11th child in a little house, you know, on the rocks in the Bahamas. He stayed in the Bahamas till he died in a crash plane with him and his family. So he's a man that has influenced me a lot, even in his death, you know, so thanks to him that. So Miles Monroe defines leadership as the capacity to influence others through inspiration, generated by a vision, motivated by a passion, produced by a conviction, and ignited by a purpose. Okay, let me go back. Let me repeat that one more time.
That's excellent.
Miles Monroe defined leadership as a capacity to influence others through inspiration, motivated by passion, generated by a vision, produced by a conviction, and ignited by a purpose. Notice that the primary tool of the work of the leader is not a bank statement. Okay, it's not a business strategy. No, it's inspiration. Okay, then we talk about purpose, we talk about vision, we talk about a conviction, we talk about a motivation, we talk about passion, and then we talk about inspiration. So the capacity of the leader to influence others through inspiration is the ultimate way that the leader finds himself a winner. Why? Because if you are able to make other people believe in themselves, to see in themselves as what they could be, as not the law that others want them to believe, if they can see the perception of themselves change in the future, guess what happens? They carry themselves in a different way. The standard of their work changes. They want to grow themselves. They want to develop themselves. And by so doing, the work which they're in charge of automatically changes.
Absolutely.
Right. Exactly.
I love it. And I talk about how, everyone dreams of success and we all have these big dreams, but very few people realize their dreams. And, after years of studying this and going and getting a PhD in performance in this, it's actually really simple. I think the reason that people don't achieve success comes down to two things. They give up too easy or too quick. They lack that grit. And when you're inspired, you're more apt to not give up quickly and to stay the course. Because, there's so many times where we think, oh, I have so much farther to go and we're hitting this when we're really just there. And all of a sudden it opens up and boom, that's the tipping point and things go from there. And I mean, you had probably literally the 18-month journey from Togo to South Africa would have had a number of those moments along the journey. And anyone that's over the age of 20 has had a whole bunch of chapters of their life where you wonder, how the heck did I even get here? So I love the inspiration as a foundation. And leaders, again, it's their vision that actually inspires and brings out that attitude and brings people together, and it makes it purpose-driven goals versus thou shalt goals.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, correct. You said something. If I just want to just give me 2 seconds, I want to talk about this. You said something about success, and I've come across these two definitions of success by some of the brilliant people in this self-development industry that have ever existed. Is Earl Nightingale and James Williams. Earl Nightingale defines success as the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And James Williams has two definitions for it. The first one, he says, that it is an inner ideal that is pursued relentlessly and consistently, and the outer achievement related to that ideal. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, what is common to the definition of these two people, notice, is that it has nothing to do with what's the big car that you drive, what's the blonde woman you are with. No, it is about the ideal that you are standing for. So what is your worthy ideal? Okay, that's when we talk about purpose. What is the worthy ideal that makes you wake up every single morning to want to fight one more time? And as the leader, first of all, it's about knowing what your worthy ideal is, and by enabling the people that you are working with to find their worthy ideal and to wake up every single morning fighting for that. Mm-hmm. That is when we talk about leadership.
Amen. Amen. I love this. Now, speaking of worthy ideals, right now, there's a lot going on and you're dealing with corporate, America and globally like I am. And in every organization that I'm talking to, DEI and the whole DEI space, so diversity, equity, and inclusion is a big deal. And I know this is one of your areas of specialty. Can first tell the audience what you think DEI is and about, and what learnings or insights you would want to get across.
Yeah. So before I answer your question, I just want to share with you what truly is the drive for me to be a die-hard agent of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. When I was in South Africa, I've seen a lot of things. Now, I've seen white folks, when you walk into a bar, I mean, no offense to you, Corey, all respect, you all love, okay? But you know what? I think DEI is about spitting some truth, okay? So we gotta be real here. Okay, I'm not attacking anybody, but I've got to say this so that people can.
Well, we talked about this before we started too, Stephen. Right?
Yeah. You did.
I cannot talk to DEI the same as you can, because literally I'm a white male and I'm coming from the traditional point of privilege.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's in our ignorance. Like, how could I possibly know and understand, struggles of someone from Togo, West Africa, that comes over to America, or a gay man or woman, like if I've never lived a day in their shoes. And I think that, that's just something that I think people need to get out of their own way and not pass judgment coming from our own lens. And I know I've been guilty of it throughout my days. I hope to God I've never been, racist or whatever, but whether it was blatant or inadvertent, I think there's a lot of things that people do that can point to that. So, and sorry to interrupt, because
that's okay.
We're stating the obvious. We got a black man and a white man here talking D.E.I. and I know it's a little uncomfortable for you talking about the white guy at the bar saying it, but it's like, it is what it is, people.
Yeah,
Get used to being uncomfortable, and you'll be able to get through life a heck of a lot easier if you quit worrying about being comfortable all the time.
That's true. Yeah. So at a point I was working for Martin that owned a warehouse. So by then, because I had nothing, I slept on the premises, worked as a security guard, as a mason, as a carpenter, basically any work around the premises. Now, the work never hurt me, Corey. I'm a hard worker. I can work from morning to evening, highly motivated. But it was that Wednesday afternoon when Martin asked me to go and offload a truck that was 9 tons of cement. Now,
that's a lot.
I was working on empty stomach. I offloaded this, at the last cement, I passed out. And that was about 11 p.m. And when I came back the following morning, and when Martin saw me, it wasn't like, hey, look what happened to you. No, it wasn't that. When Martin saw me, Martin was like, now, when I do this is a beating, okay? Martin was like, hey, you bloody monkey. You are black. You are doomed for failure. Nobody will ever look at you like nothing. Now, Corey, I'm talking about this today, but then, even before the episode of Martin, I had gone through so much that I thought had made me so tough to resist anything. But at that very moment, I did not know where the tears came from. And it just slid down my cheek. And I was like, whoa, what have I done on earth to be black? And from that day, I committed to myself that if one day God gives me the opportunity to have a voice, I will speak for D.E.I. so that we all treat each other fairly enough. We know the world is not fair. We know nature is not fair, but at least since we human beings have a sense to think and to reason, it's only fair that we treat each other the right way. So talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, I mean, my talk is not about how can you implement diversity, equity, inclusion. My talk is not about bring this technicality or I have found these smart techniques. No, because you know what? I believe that I've spoken into companies where they brought in like highly expert, and it's not downgrading, people that come and implement D.E.I. procedures out there. No, it's not about that. But I think it's again the time that we talk to each other some truth. Now, I've seen companies where they've matched the numbers, 3 here, 2 black people, 1 a handicap, and all of this. But still, the work culture was not favorable to people being fulfilled and performance. Now, what does that mean? What that means is that, in one of my YouTube videos, I talk about that. What that means is that even in the workspace, even though the work itself has its own culture, that collective culture in the workspace it's highly influenced by the collective culture of each individual from where they come from. I don't know if I'm making sense to you, Corey. Am I making sense?
Absolutely.
To you? Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that if, for example, You are like that young lady I met about 3 years ago who grew up in Norway and was about 29 years old and confessed to me that, hey, Steve, you know what? I'm 29 now, but you are the first Black person that I've ever met. Okay. I'm not blaming that young lady. If you are like that young lady and you don't know what a Black person is like or what they do or what they don't, and you have been fed for years that, you know, with all these stereotypes about Black people, you're going to come to this workspace with all those stereotypes in your mind. Now, if you're a person that does not give your own self the opportunity to observe, to listen, to watch, and to ask questions like how that young lady asked me a bunch of questions about Africa, the best one is that, oh, you know what? And my teacher told me since primary school that if I ever go to Africa, they're gonna eat me there. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay, yeah, come, okay, we're gonna make kebab. We'll make kebab with you, okay? I eat the arm, all right? I like the arm.
How hungry are they over there?
I swear, man.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, and I think even on the other side, like if the experiences of, you know, the guy in the bar or Martin, you know, had shaped perception, you know, to others, right?
Yeah.
Like that would be legitimate to feel a certain way, but we have to realize, and I know you talk about emotional intelligence, and it's that part of emotional intelligence is the self-awareness and awareness of others, and that being open and seeking to understand. And I think it's when we come with questions versus statements, I think that's part of it, and looking to get to know people, you know, because I think you're wearing a shirt that says be different, and I absolutely love it, because we all have our own uniqueness. At the end of the day, the reality is, and you've traveled the world, I've been able to travel the world. The more I meet people from around the world, the more we're alike.
Oh yeah,
than
so much alike. Yeah.
And if we approached it from embrace the uniqueness, but realize how much we're all more similar than you know, different, that then I think the approach and mindsets and our defensive force fields that some people will have, you know, that have kept them safe and in certain situations, but also it can get rid of some of the negativity around coming through our own lens and judging people who aren't looking through our lens. Yeah,
totally. You know, so basically, I think the fundamental of DEI, and everything has a fundamental. Okay, so the fundamental even come before the basics. Okay, you have the fundamental, then the basics. So the fundamentals of you know, I use my French accent, fundamental. Okay, so the fundamentals, okay, of DEI, Corey, just to echo on what you said, is about being open to learn. Okay, it's about being open to understand, to develop that emotional intelligence, the empathy for one another. Okay, so that we are able to learn and accept each other the way we are, and be able to co-live and co-perform and take this planet to the next level.
Absolutely. I love it. And I'm totally aligned with that. So I want to ask you a question here with the last little bit of time, because I know you're a busy guy, but I ask this question of all our guests, because it's, you know, my background stuff is around elite level performance, and you've been able to perform at a high level in a number of different ways throughout your life. What are 3 of your high performance habits that, you know, are your kind of habits for success in your own life as you define it? In terms of your worthy ideal.
Habit, a very powerful word, you know. I mean, tell me about your habits and I will tell you who you will become. They say that we do not decide of our future, we decide of our habits, and our habits decide of our future. Okay. They say that the habits are that second mind. Now listen to this, Corey. So that habits are the sum of habit we have represents that second mind, which controls us, but we do not have control of. Whoa. Okay, all right. Okay. So let me tell you about my habits, Corey. And you know what? I don't care who you are. If you're listening to me right now from wherever you are listening or watching this from around the world, if you do this, okay, this is what I do. Okay? This is not something that I'm going to suck my thumbs and talk to you, preach to the choir or anything. No, this is what I do every single day. And I've been doing this for many, many, many years. And that keeps me at a certain level of performance consistently. Every day when I wake up, I do at least a minimum of 150 push-ups and 70 sit-ups without fail. Okay. Why? Because now listen to this, Corey. Like the reason why we give up easily is because the brain muscle that is built for resilience is not trained enough. Okay, so by doing 5 push-ups today, tomorrow you do 7, the following day you do 10, and then you will do 11. What you are doing is during those 5 minutes or 7 minutes you're spending on yourself every morning, you are building that resilience muscle. Now, absolutely, when that day comes, when everything seems to be falling around you, it's those 7 minutes you've invested every morning that will come and be like a shield, and that negative thought will come and bounce on it and then go back. Okay, so I do that. And secondly, I either listen to something positive. Okay, and my favorite talks to go to is Les Brown, Miles Monroe, or T.D. Jakes, or I listen to the 10 Scrolls of Og Mandino. Today I begin a new life. Today I shed my old skin, which has too long suffered the bruises of failure and the wounds of mediocrity. Today I am born anew, and my birthplace is a vineyard where there is fruit for all. And then at the end it says that what? Today I am born anew, and I walk tall among men that will know me not. For today I am a new man with a new life. And I say a little prayer, and that is my routine every single day. And I can tell you that if you do that, if you develop that habit, you become invincible. If you do it and it doesn't work, come back. I'll give you your money back. Okay.
Yeah, that's an easy bet for you to take, as I know. Mm-hmm. Because no one's going to be coming back unless they're a liar.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. My last question before I give you back the rest of your day is, I want you to imagine your 100th birthday celebration. Who would you want there, and what do you want them saying about you?
Okay, correct. I'm going to shock you with this question. I mean, with this answer that I'm about to give you right now. So I would advise you to praise yourself, and whoever is listening, watching, they've got to praise themselves. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Hold tight. Okay. Bounce on.
I might need my mouth guard to bite down.
Exactly. There you go. You got it. So Corey, I have a vision. Okay. Now, in between now and 20 to 23 years, I want to be able to have inspired 150 million people. Okay. And about 70% of those will be young people around the world. Okay. Then, maximum 25 years from now, I want to become president of my country, Togo. Okay. Then, after my 10 years of presidency, I'm going to write a book about the journey. And then I'm going to travel the world and speak about this book. Okay. Over and over again. I do that for 5 years. Now, after a thorough calculation, what that means is I'll be about 70 years old or so. Okay. 68, 70 years old while I'll be doing all of that. Now, what I say is, I don't believe that we have to live a long life with no impact. What is important is for us to live and make an impact. Now, if history is true that Jesus has lived until only 35 or 33 years old, and we're talking about him from 2,000 years ago till now, it shows that it's not about how long you live. It's about the impact that you make. And I can point out many other people in history that. Okay,
and it's how you live, not how long, it's how you live.
Not how long, exactly. So what I say is that if I have been able to accomplish all of that, and travel the world and speak about all these things for 5 years, after that time, I'll be ready to go back to where I come from, if you know what I'm saying. I'll be ready to give my life back, okay? So that if there is any reincarnation, can come back and you and start a new mission. There's no time to waste, okay? All right. So what I'm trying to say, Corey, is that this is not suicidal thought, okay? But this is a thought of a visionary, that charismatic visionary that is saying that I have no really interest, okay? I have no drive for me to live for 100, 150 years old. No, my drive is about today, right now. While I'm sharing this message with you, how many of thousands or millions of people can listen to this and take a step to start living free of fear, self-doubt, and low self-esteem? How many people around the world can stand today that because I have listened to Stephen's message, I am standing today to change my life for the better? I am standing today to start taking action, massive actions, so that I can take my life from where it is right now to where I am truly destined to be. Okay, so if you ask me, where I want to live till my 100th birthday, I don't know. But if I do live till that, then it's very simple. Okay, all the books that I would have written till then, I've written 4 already. All the books that I've written till then, I want to give it away to the world for free. And I want to hang out with really young people because they have a fresh brain. They'll give you new perspective. They'll make you see things that you don't see. Okay, and who I want to have there, Corey? You're gonna be my first guest. Okay, you're going to be my first guest on my 100th birthday. And my kids and the people that I love. Okay, basically everybody around the world that knows me. Come on. Let's have it.
That's going to be a big party, and I love it.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, my first book was called Epitaph Theory and How You Want to Be Remembered. And, I know my epitaph will say, I fought the good fight, I kept the faith, and I finished the race. Because I don't want to give up too quick or too long. And where that comes from.
Oh, yeah.
And you're obviously a man of faith, as I am. And being ready by how we live our life, not how long at any time, because, it's but a speck of sand, right? But our impact can live on forever. And that, whereas corporate America talks ROI, one of my first guests, Shan Graham, talks about ROI. And there's 2 ways. There's return on investment, but there's ripple of impact. And that's always resonated with me. I always thought of that ripple of impact. And in, the missions work that I do, or, the stuff with Sport Aid, where, over the next 25 years, we want to be able to touch 1 billion people worldwide. And you said 750,000. If that's 750,000 by 68, the reason you want to be inspired to go to 100 is you can get that many more. You can triple that.
Yeah, I said 150 million.
Oh, no. 750 million.
Oh, there you go. Now you're talking.
Yeah. You're going higher than that. You're going 5-10x on that.
I received that, Corey. I received it wholeheartedly.
Excellent. Well, Stephen, thank you very much for your time on the show today. I will make sure that our listeners get the links to your website and social media, and how to get the books and that, and any special offers that you want to offer our guests. But thank you. Any final words you want to leave our guests with before we sign off?
Sure. Well, My last words, Corey, first of all, I want to thank you again for this opportunity. And one more time, holla to Nicole Johnson that made this possible. What I want to share, one of my last words for the people listening or watching this is this, okay? Live your life. Try everything that is in you. Pull everything together so you are able to live a life free of fear, self-doubt, and low self-esteem. And when you do, when you're in that process, do not conform to the things that you see. Do not conform to the things that tell you that you cannot be it. Do not conform to the things that are making you think as if you are not it. But be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That is my word, and I'm sticking to it.
Amen, brother. Thank you, Hawk Nation, for tuning in this week for another wonderful episode. And if you haven't already, again, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us, and share with friends. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.